Hello everyone, it's Alexa here again with another update video on how my recovery is going after I've tore my Achilles tendon on my right foot playing basketball. If you want to hear the story all the way from the beginning, I've been making a series of videos. You can go back and check them out using this link here. Anyway, just want to share an update with where I'm at now. In my last doctor's appointment, I was at the very beginning. It was basically the third week of my recovery post-op. And I met with my doctor and I wanted to talk about how that all went. And then I was going to show you what my leg looks like right now, so you can get a peek at that, see how things are healing. I also wanted to talk and give a few tips on how to manage pain because things have been kind of painful in the last couple of weeks. I am feeling a lot better now, but things were kind of tough, so we'll talk about pain. And then yeah, we'll just kind of close things up with a couple notes on safety. So let's jump into it. First things first, let's talk about my doctor's appointment. My doctor said that my foot is healing really well and that things looked really good, and that was all really great to hear, of course. The main thing that we did at my appointment was take the stitches out. So I don't know, it probably took like a minute to do that. There's 3 places that they needed to take the stitches out of my foot. It honestly didn't hurt that bad. I was laying on my stomach and not looking, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really like that kind of stuff, and it honestly was not that bad. And timeline wise, I did get the stitches out at about 13 days post-op, which I think I could have had them out a little bit sooner, not that it matters, but because of how the weekend fell, that's when they took them out. And at this point, he also said that I can start washing my leg, like showering without the cast protector on, which is really great because by that point, my leg was definitely starting to like smell bad, and it just felt gross, and so that was nice. He said no submerging in water, no putting it like in a hot tub or a bath or any sort of body of water because it still is healing and it's really sensitive. So if you think about like when you soak in a hot tub, your skin gets really soft, and if you have cuts, it's like it kind of like can open that area up easily, right? But I was able to wash my leg, so that's been great. So I've been showering without the cast protector, been really careful. I still just like pat it down dry afterwards. This was such a great doctor's appointment. Okay, the other thing that was so great about this appointment was that he said that I was able to reach neutral. My foot on its own was able to reach neutral. And so basically what this looks like is after surgery, well, for me at least, after surgery, I was put into a splint. Splint is kind of like a half cast, I guess. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the medical terms or how to describe them, define them properly, but in my words, it's basically like half a cast where the underside is hard and then the top side was soft. So my foot was not completely blocked off. The splint has your foot very stable in like a position where your foot is like this. And that's so that the Achilles, which goes along here and down this way, right, that can stay closer together and it'll heal properly. And I will also say, so I was in the splint was having me kind of like in this position, and then when they took the splint off and put me back in my boot, they still had me in a similar position where the foot was kind of lowered down like this. I believe it is called plantar flexion. My doctor had me early on starting to do ROM, range of motion, where I was moving my foot up and down and side to side, just using your own strength with your leg. Yeah, no additional help from anything else. So at this appointment, because of the exercises I've been doing, I was able to, on my own, move my foot into neutral. So the big thing that happened during this appointment was that they actually moved my boot from that lower position into neutral, which I think is really exciting and really big. I mean, it's essentially like walking position. I'm recording this video a little bit later, and I've been able to have my foot in the boot at neutral for quite a few days now, and it's comfortable. Like it actually just feels normal and natural again, which is really exciting, and I think good progress on this road to recovery. Okay, so those were like kind of the big things that happened during that appointment, and then the question is, what's next? So my doctor told me to continue to do ROM exercises, moving my foot up and down, side to side. He said no adding of any sort of like towel, no bands. I'm not like stretching my foot, using anything else other than my own strength of my leg. Now my next appointment is to go back and check in 2 weeks later. So next time I go there, it will actually be the very beginning of my 4th week post-op. I'm feeling really good about it. Okay, next I wanted to show you what my leg looks like. If you're grossed out by this kind of stuff, you can always skip ahead. I'm personally usually really like sensitive and grossed out by a lot of things, and this has not been that gross to me. So maybe you want to check it out. What you're gonna see is that I have 3 cuts, like 3 incisions, I guess, 2 in my heel and 1 in my leg. What I'm gonna do is I'm first gonna show you a video of what my leg looked like after 8 days post-op. That's the first time I went in for my appointment, and that's when they took the splint off my leg. So if you are looking at the video right now, you can see the splint is cut up into pieces and on the back counter there at the doctor's office. And then my leg, you'll see that you can see the stitches in my heel. So I have one on one side and one on the other that look exactly the same. On my leg, basically like where the Achilles is, you'll see that I still have bandages there. So this is how I left the doctor's appointment. They wrapped my leg up with more bandage stuff before I left, and then they put me in the boot. So that's what it looked like at 8 days. Fast forward to about 13 days post-op. This is what my leg looked like then. So this is where we took the stitches out. You can see that it looks still like I've got some cuts there, and it still is clearly healing. At this point is when I was allowed to shower. So yeah, I think overall it looks really great. And again, my doctor said it looked good too and that it was healing really well. So I'm super happy with how it looks now. Hopefully that wasn't too weird for you. I think it's kind of funny or like weird to like look at people's feet. I'm not usually someone to like staring at people's feet, but this is obviously for like just to show you what it looks like. And in the case that you've torn your Achilles, hopefully this is useful for you to just have some expectations of what maybe yours could look like. That's that on that. Let's talk about managing pain. I want to talk about it especially from week 2 all the way up until week 3. Man, that was kind of quite painful. And it was kind of a different sort of pain than I was used to. I think there's been 3 types of pain that I've experienced during this recovery process. And the one actually just being the pain that I felt the moment it happened, or moments after, which in the moment, I don't remember it hurting. And then actually what hurt the most, I think, was trying to take my shoe off, which I eventually did once I got home after being driven home from the gym. Then there's the pain that happened right after my surgery, which that pain was, I think, mostly from the nerve block that they put in my leg. I did not like that feeling. I really don't know how to describe it. It just felt like, I think my foot felt really stiff and then toes were tingling. Yeah, just, didn't like that feeling. Not great. But once the nerve block wore off, and I was taking pain meds, of course, but like once that wore off, I didn't feel like I was in much pain at all, actually. I didn't take pain medication past the 4-day mark. But once I started doing the range of motion exercises that my doctor told me to do, yeah, that's when the pain kicked in again. And actually what I remember multiple people telling me prior to my surgery was to stay on top of the pain medication. And multiple people said that this was like very top of mind for me because it was just highly recommended by so many people who had done surgery before. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I gotta stay on top of the pain meds prescribed to me by the doctor immediately after surgery. And I was on top of that. I was taking them regularly. I noticed that they definitely were helping me. And then once I noticed the pain stopped, I stopped taking them. And actually, like I said, things were fine for the rest of that week, basically. But again, once I started doing the range of motion exercises and moving my leg around, I was in pain. And so I thought about that again. I was like, people said to stay on top of the pain meds. At this point, I wasn't going to get back on the intense ones that were prescribed by the doctor. They did tell me that I could take high-strength Tylenol for pain. And so I started taking high-strength Tylenol and trying to be really good and really regular about taking it. That is something that, like, looking back on it now, I wish I would have done right away and stayed on top of. And now I think I understand exactly the different ways to stay on top of it too. And like I said, I had that small break between, but this pain was the 3rd type of pain that I've been experiencing. And maybe when I start PT, there'll be a 4th sort of pain that I will experience. But during this 3rd pain section, a lot of the pain was actually at nighttime. And I was still sleeping with my leg raise pillow, which was helpful, but I don't know how to describe it. I was just kind of like tossing and turning a lot. It really hurt. I actually noticed that sometimes putting my leg down and like kind of hanging it off the bed actually helped. And then I would reset it by putting it back up. So I don't know. I got through it, but it was really hard and it did help a lot by taking the Tylenol. So maybe that's something you can talk to your doctor about as well. Okay, a couple other things about managing pain. The other thing was that my foot was actually really swollen after I got the splint off. And I think it was because the wrap that was around my leg that it was a little bit too tight. And so just know that if they do wrap your foot like that and it's just like a bandage that you can easily like Velcro off, it's okay to just loosen it up a bit at that point. And I had been wearing my long socks also on top of that, so it's very protected from the outside. And then also because I've been out of the splint, I've been able to ice more. And so I have been trying to ice on and off for like 20 minutes or so when it does start to hurt. All right, to wrap this video up, let's just talk a little bit about safety. For the most part, I'm just taking my boot off only to do my exercises or to ice. And then I also leave it off for some time while I'm laying in bed after my shower, because I want to let that area just kind of like dry and breathe a little bit. And my doctor did say that I was able to, if I needed to, or if I wanted to let my leg breathe a little bit more than I had been. So it's just nice to have that flexibility now. I'm not walking around the house at all without my boot on. I'd be very nervous to accidentally fall and then, you know, have there be some sort of re-rupture or something. So the main thing that I've just found so interesting about all of this has been like trying to understand everyone's timelines to recovery. A lot of people share their stories on YouTube that I found, and I've been really trying to like understand at what point in time am I gonna hit this milestone. I think what I've noticed is just that there's a lot of potential variety. There's the surgical route and the non-surgical route. There's people who share stories from different places all over the world who have different healthcare systems or like technology. Also, a lot of people are sharing stories from different points in time, like 5 years ago or 2 years ago or right now, right? So anyway, it's just super interesting. I feel like my timeline seems to be further along than some of the stories I've seen online, and I don't know what to make of it. I think that ultimately why I'm doing this is because I want to share my experience and hope that it creates some comfort from someone on the other end to just, you know, understand what someone's experience is like going through this process. And then ultimately, like hopefully my experience can help you ask better questions to your healthcare provider who has your best interest at heart and is going to be the person that you should be listening to actually make decisions about your health. I also did find this resource on calsportsortho.com, and I'm gonna link this resource in the description below. And I wanted to link it because I found it through some sort of Google search. I don't remember what I was looking at. You know, this is a clinic that's based out of Oakland in the Bay Area in California. Reading through what their procedures, and they have somewhat of a timeline in there, like expectations for after your surgery. I found that the timeline matched really closely with the timeline that my healthcare provider has been having me go down. So again, just sharing my experience. I hope it's helpful. And if you have any thoughts or questions or comments or like want to chat about this, feel free to leave me a note in the comment section below. And then I'm going to do another update video probably after my next appointment. That'll be in 2 weeks from now, just to check in, and we'll see what's next from there. And then yeah, I'm Alexa if you're new here or if you just stumbled across this one video. I live and work out of San Diego, California. I normally make videos on this channel about design, careers in tech, living and working remotely in San Diego. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff or just want to follow along with my Achilles rupture journey, I would love for you to be a subscriber. And if this video is helpful, would love it if you gave it a like. I think that's gonna wrap things up. Hope to see you in that next video. That's all for now. Bye.